In the ancient texts of the lost book of Adam and Eve, there lies a tale that has intrigued and mystified readers for centuries. A tale that delves deep into the aftermath of one of the earliest and most tragic events in human history, the murder of Abel by his brother Cain. While the story of Cain and Abel is well known from the Bible, the lost book of Adam and Eve offers a different perspective, shedding light on the mysterious events that unfolded after Abel's untimely death. What happened to Abel's body? How did his parents, Adam and Eve, cope with the unimaginable grief of losing their son in such a brutal way? And what does this story tell us about the nature of life, death, and divine justice? As we journey through the pages of this ancient text, we uncover hidden truths that have been lost to time, revealing a deeper understanding of the human condition and the eternal struggle between good and evil. This story is not just about the death of Abel. It's about the profound impact of sin on humanity, the enduring hope for redemption, and the mysterious ways in which the divine plan unfolds. Join me as we explore the truth about what happened to Abel's body, according to the lost book of Adam and Eve. And remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our deep dives into biblical mysteries and ancient tales. The story of Cain and Abel is one of the most well-known narratives from the Bible, found in Genesis 4:1-16. It's a tale of the first murder in human history, where jealousy and anger led Cain to kill his brother Abel. But beyond the brief account in Genesis, there exists an ancient text known as the Lost Book of Adam and Eve, which provides a more detailed and dramatic portrayal of the events that followed Abel's death. This ancient text offers insights into the emotional turmoil of Adam and Eve, the spiritual implications of Abel's death, and the mysterious fate of his body. According to the Bible, Abel was a shepherd, and Cain was a farmer. Both brothers brought offerings to God, but God favored Abel's offering over Cain's. This rejection ignited a deep-seated jealousy in Cain, which eventually culminated in him luring Abel into the fields and killing him. The Bible recounts that after the murder, God confronted Cain, cursed him, and marked him to ensure that no one would kill him as he wandered the earth. However, the Bible does not delve deeply into what happened to Abel's body or how his parents, Adam and Eve, dealt with this tragic event. The lost book of Adam and Eve, however, picks up where the Bible leaves off, providing a narrative filled with sorrow, divine intervention, and a profound exploration of the consequences of sin. This ancient text is crucial for understanding the emotional and spiritual aftermath of Abel's death, offering a glimpse into the anguish of the first parents and the divine actions that followed. After Cain murdered Abel, he fled in fear and guilt, leaving behind the lifeless body of his brother. When Adam and Eve discovered Abel's body, their grief was beyond measure. They had already experienced the pain of being expelled from the Garden of Eden, but losing Abel to such a violent act was an entirely new and devastating sorrow. The lost book of Adam and Eve vividly describes how Adam and Eve wept over Abel's body for many days. They were overwhelmed by the reality of death, something they had not fully understood until that moment. Abel's death was not just the loss of a son. It was the embodiment of the consequences of sin, which had entered the world through their disobedience. This text portrays the profound grief that enveloped the first family. Adam and Eve's sorrow was compounded by the realization that their disobedience had set off a chain of events leading to this tragic outcome. They were heartbroken, not only because of Abel's death, but also because of the knowledge that sin had corrupted their family, leading one son to kill another. In their despair, Adam and Eve sought to bury Abel, but they were uncertain about how to proceed. They had never encountered death before, and the concept of burying the dead was foreign to them. This uncertainty added to their sorrow, as they were confronted with the harsh realities of a world outside Eden, a world now marred by sin and death. The burial of Abel. The lost book of Adam and Eve describes how Adam and Eve struggled with the decision of what to do with Abel's body. They could not leave it exposed to the elements, as that would be a dishonor to their beloved son. Yet, they did not know how to bury the dead. In their anguish, they prayed for guidance. According to the text, God sent his angels to assist them. The angels instructed Adam and Eve on how to properly bury Abel. This divine intervention highlights the significance of Abel's death and burial. It was not merely the end of a life, but a moment that carried deep spiritual meaning. The burial of Abel marked the first human burial in history, setting a precedent for how the dead would be honored in the future. The angels guided Adam and Eve through the process, teaching them how to dig a grave and lay Abel's body to rest. This act was not only a physical burial, but also a symbolic act of returning to the earth, a reminder of the words God had spoken to Adam in Genesis 3:19. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return. The burial also carried a deeper spiritual significance. It was a moment of reconciliation between humanity and the earth. Through Abel's burial, Adam and Eve acknowledged the reality of death and the consequences of sin. This moment served as a somber reflection on the fragility of life and the inevitability of death, a theme that would resonate throughout human history. The presence of angels in the burial of Abel emphasizes the importance of this event in the divine plan. The lost book of Adam and Eve describes how these celestial beings played a crucial role in guiding Adam and Eve through their grief and helping them navigate the new reality of death. The angels not only assisted in the burial, but also provided comfort to Adam and Eve. They reassured the grieving parents that Abel's soul was at peace and that God had not abandoned them despite the tragic events that had unfolded. This divine reassurance was critical in helping Adam and Eve cope with their loss and continue their journey through a fallen world. Moreover, the angels' involvement in Abel's burial highlights the spiritual battle between good and evil that was unfolding. Abel's death was not just a family tragedy. It was a manifestation of the cosmic struggle between righteousness and sin, a struggle that would continue throughout the ages. The burial of Abel, overseen by angels, symbolized the ongoing battle between the forces of good and evil and the ultimate victory of divine justice. The story also suggests that Abel's death had broader implications for the spiritual realm. The angels' participation in the burial reflects the idea that Abel's death was a significant event in the divine plan, one that carried deep spiritual meaning and consequences that extended beyond the earthly realm. The mark of Cain. In the aftermath of Abel's death, Cain was cursed by God and marked as a wanderer. The lost book of Adam and Eve offers additional insights into the nature of this curse and the significance of the mark placed upon Cain. Cain's mark was not merely a physical sign, but a symbol of his separation from God and humanity. It represented the consequences of his sin, marking him as a fugitive who would forever be haunted by the memory of his brother's death. The mark also served as a warning to others, ensuring that Cain would not be killed, but would live with the guilt and shame of his actions. This mark carried a dual meaning. On one hand, it was a punishment, a constant reminder of Cain's crime and his estrangement from his family and God. On the other hand, it was also a form of protection, preventing others from taking revenge on Cain and perpetuating the cycle of violence. The lost book of Adam and Eve suggests that the mark of Cain was a physical manifestation of the spiritual consequences of his actions. It was a visible sign of his inner torment and the burden of sin that he carried with him. This mark also served as a foreshadowing of the future consequences of sin for humanity, illustrating the idea that sin has both immediate and long-term repercussions. Abel's death had a profound impact on future generations, shaping the narrative of sin, redemption, and divine justice in human history. Although Abel's life was cut short, his legacy endured, influencing the spiritual and moral framework of humanity. The lost book of Adam and Eve portrays Abel as a symbol of innocence and righteousness, a figure whose death highlighted the destructive power of sin. Abel's sacrifice and subsequent death foreshadowed the concept of martyrdom, where the righteous suffer for their faith and commitment to God. Abel's legacy also served as a reminder of the consequences of disobedience and the importance of maintaining a close relationship with God. His death underscored the fragility of life and the need for humanity to seek redemption and forgiveness in the face of sin. Furthermore, Abel's story set the stage for the future redemptive events in human history. His death was a precursor to the sacrifices that would be made by the prophets and ultimately by Jesus Christ, who would offer himself as the ultimate sacrifice for the sins of humanity. The lost book of Adam and Eve emphasizes that Abel's legacy is not one of defeat, but of hope and redemption. His death, while tragic, was not in vain. It served as a catalyst for the unfolding of God's plan for humanity, a plan that would culminate in the ultimate victory over sin and death. The story of Cain and Abel, as depicted in the lost book of Adam and Eve, is a powerful illustration of the balance between divine justice and mercy. While God punished Cain for his sin, he also extended mercy by protecting him from being killed in retaliation. This duality reflects the complexity of God's relationship with humanity. He is both just and merciful, holding individuals accountable for their actions while also offering opportunities for repentance and redemption. Abel's death and the events that followed highlight the consequences of sin and the importance of seeking God's forgiveness. The story also emphasizes that despite the presence of evil and suffering in the world, God's ultimate plan is one of redemption and restoration. The lost book of Adam and Eve portrays God as a compassionate and just deity who grieves alongside Adam and Eve and provides them with the comfort and guidance they need to navigate their grief. This depiction of God as both a judge and a comforter reinforces the idea that, even in the midst of tragedy, there is hope for redemption and a return to God's grace. The story of Abel's death and the subsequent events, as depicted in the lost book of Adam and Eve, continues to resonate with modern readers. It offers timeless lessons about the nature of sin, the consequences of our actions, and the enduring hope for redemption. In today's world, the story of Cain and Abel serves as a powerful reminder of the destructive power of jealousy, anger, and violence. It also highlights the importance of seeking forgiveness and maintaining a close relationship with God. The legacy of Abel, as a symbol of righteousness and martyrdom, continues to inspire those who seek to live a life of faith and commitment to God. The lost book of Adam and Eve provides a unique perspective on this ancient story, offering additional insights into the spiritual and emotional dimensions of the narrative. It serves as a reminder that, even in the face of tragedy and loss, there is hope for redemption and a return to God's grace. As we conclude this exploration of the truth about what happened to Abel's body, I encourage you to reflect on the lessons of this ancient story. If you found this deep dive into the lost book of Adam and Eve intriguing, make sure to like this video and share it with others who are passionate about uncovering biblical mysteries. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. We have more fascinating content lined up that will take you on a journey through the hidden truths of the Bible and ancient texts. Stay tuned, and let's continue this journey together.